DEA staffs and operates permanent offices in Canada.
We have a country office in Ottawa, and we have an office in Vancouver.
We know that the DEA operates in many other countries and runs roughshod over the sovereignty of many other countries. So is there any reason to think that they don't do the same in Canada?
We do not have police powers in Canada. We are there strictly in a liaison capacity.
Why do we even have the DEA in Canada? I mean, we've actually been trying to find that out, by the way.
Libby Davies, Member of Parliament for Vancouver East, has a special stake in the issue. She represents the city's drug-ravaged downtown east side, and coincidentally, Mark Emery's neighborhood.
I think this has everything to do with political pressure from the United States. We should be developing our own made-in-Canada policies. We should not be bowing to U.S. pressure. How are they influencing Canadian law enforcement and political policy? It should make us very, very nervous.
Our relationship with the RCMP is absolutely rock solid.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light?
In May 2006, the annual DEA conference was held in Canada for the first time. Top DEA officials came in from Washington, along with high-ranking drug agents from over 80 countries, all in partnership with the DEA. And I joined the gathering. Our co-host was the RCMP commissioner at the time, Giuliano Zaccardelli.
This is the 24th year of IDEC. And you know, long before it became fashionable to buy into the philosophy of integrated policing, the DEA showed us the way.
I had a wonderful meeting yesterday with the leadership of the newly elected government in Canada, and I am so impressed. I want to thank Commissioner Zaccardelli for his partnership as we struggle together in our shared fight against drugs across.
Meanwhile, just down the road, there was another drug conference underway, where judges, lawyers, health workers, and police officers, many former drug warriors themselves, were telling the other side of the story.
We have approached the problem now for 90 years in the United States with only one strategy: spend more money, arrest more people. Our treasury is empty and our prisons are full. And we have a problem that is worse than it ever was.
And seeing all these police officers articulately and accurately frame the problem with the war on drugs is really a refreshing and wonderful thing.
Back at the Drug Enforcement Conference, I got the chance to ask why the United States ranked Emery the #1 drug trafficker in Canada.
Here in Canada, there is a public perception that perhaps marijuana isn't as serious as the other drugs. How do you justify putting Emery above the Hells Angels and the Asian gangs who traffic the hard drugs?
There is not one above another on the list. It is a composite list of the most wanted traffickers, manufacturers.
But there are no other Canadians.
And for us in the United States, the risk to the youth from marijuana is substantial and has been...
Rather than address whether in fact Mark Emery is a legitimate threat compared to organized crime, the subject is steered back to the preferred talking point: marijuana as a health threat.
And I'm going to link back to the question from the gentleman here when he talks about the Hells Angels, Asian organized crime involved in hard drugs. There's no such things as soft or hard drugs. We're talking drugs here.
I could not agree more. There is no such thing as a soft drug or a hard drug, because what you have asked us about and termed as a soft drug is a drug that has addicted our children.
Even though scientific research keeps finding that marijuana is not physically addictive, Candy continues to say it is, and the RCMP only nods.
There's a big rally over there.
It looked to me that the RCMP serves as the DEA's Trojan horse for importing American drug policy into Canada.
I've seen it worldwide, like I've indicated in Colombia.
But influence with law enforcement is not the only way the U.S. government has pressured Canada to toe the line. It wasn't long ago that Canada was on the brink of decriminalization.
We will soon introduce legislation to decriminalize possession of small amounts of marijuana. Don't start to smoke right away.
There is a feeling that the serious threat posed by marijuana, and the marijuana in particular coming from Canada, is being ignored, and I think joking about it makes that worse.
John Walters, the White House drug czar himself, was dispatched from Washington to personally deter us from legalizing pot.
Oh, lordy, lordy, the Antichrist himself is coming to Vancouver. Good God. John Walters, the White House drug czar from the Imperial United States, is arriving in Vancouver next Wednesday.
I would legalize this, and I would tax the living hell out of it.
Larry Campbell met with the drug czar when he dropped in to visit Vancouver.
The drug czar is an idiot. A complete and total idiot. I mean, he tried to explain to me that marijuana was the most dangerous drug and was the most addictive drug in the United States, period. And I didn't understand how that was. He's made it clear that they would shut our borders down. I mean, there's no question. I mean, this is all about threats.
There was 5 tables of police officers from the Vancouver Police Department. They love John Walters.
We have regrettably had over 25 years of intense experience with the drug problem in the United States.
Well, there was also a table of 10 activists that I paid $500 for, and we heckled John Walters unmercifully all night long. As soon as he started telling lies about marijuana, we'd go liar, jailer, incarcerator, bullshit, and things like that, all night long. And he had lots of lies, so there was no end of us heckling him with words bullshit.
Of the 6 million people who could benefit from treatment and need it in the United States today, 60% are dependent on marijuana.
Lies.
We humiliated him on TV and in a public forum, and he was furious.
I'm a public official. What I say, what I'm responsible for, can be questioned and debated. I never heard of you.
He came, he saw, he got his ass kicked. Yes, indeed.
The showdown with the drug czar ushered in some heady days for the pot people. During the summer of 2003, decriminalization seemed imminent, and Emery smelled victory. He hit the road for what he called his Summer of Legalization tour, testing the rumor that legalization had already arrived. He had mixed results. But as summer faded, it seemed the drug czar had in fact won. Chrétien stopped talking about decriminalization, and the bill later died.
There's not a shadow of a doubt in my mind that all of this was coming from some pretty heavy-duty political pressure from the U.S.
For 2 more years, it was business as usual for Emery, selling his marijuana seeds, running his shop, and publishing his magazine. That is until July 29th, 2005, when without warning, he was busted.
Those engaged in the cultivation and trafficking of illegal drugs will eventually pay a steep price.
USA, go home! USA, go home! USA, go home! House Commons Committee says decriminalize marijuana. It would already be legal if it weren't for threats from America.
We are not just Canadians here, we are people of the cannabis culture, and we cannot rest until our people are free everywhere on earth. An extradition hearing doesn't give me a trial. It's just a very brief hearing and off I go. I'm gone to an American judge, an American law, an American jury, an American punishment.
Though Emery is exaggerating a bit, he will have a chance to appeal an extradition order. This would likely only delay the inevitable. But there is another option: pleading guilty and having his lawyer cut a deal with American prosecutors for a more lenient sentence.
What do they really want?
Maybe they want to muzzle you. Maybe that's something we could offer them.
And if I just get 5 years and I take a deal like that because I'm a coward and I want to only serve 5 years in jail or something like that, then people shouldn't care about me. Because for me, it's about the principle, and you're being dragged along to put pressure on me to make some kind of deal, which is what they always did. And then I had to suck shit and take some deal admitting guilt to something I don't believe is wrong.
We need martyrs. We need heroes. You know, black people have Malcolm X and Marcus Garvey and Martin Luther King, and they were all killed under tragic circumstances. So on one hand, personally, yes, it wasn't so good for them. They got killed. But for the movements that they represented was incredible.
I would prefer, of course, to stay amongst my beloved friends and my cannabis culture, but whatever it takes, the ultimate goal is to legalize marijuana, set an example for the world, set an example for the United States, and stop being a satellite satrapy, a puppet state of the Bush administration. We have nothing to learn from America.
Emery doesn't look forward to a U.S. prison cell, of course. But after decades of fighting, I honestly think he would be disappointed if he didn't get the chance to martyr himself for the cause.
I think the average person in North America can't name one person in jail for pot.
No, they probably can't.
But if I were in
What
jail,
does that have
then
to do
everybody
with
would know one person who shouldn't be there who's in jail for pot.
Well, so what? We know a lot of people that shouldn't be in jail.
I think that's
for
an
why they
important
are.
representation.
Once he's over there, guilty plea, contested trial, whatever, I know how the Americans play ball. And they will be looking for the maximum they can get. And I believe they'll be looking for life.
I just think it's stupid for him to want to make a 15-minute of fame fuss by going to jail and saying, oh, I got a bad sentence, oh, I'm going to America, oh, it's not fair. Quiet. End of story.
It won't be 15 seconds.
End of story. Yes,
it won't end.
Yes,
Once he's across that line, I don't know. I mean, they're not going to execute him, but life would be pretty brutal.
It's not going to accomplish anything by going to the States. Ian Donaldson tells me this.
The story is hot for one day. Within a week, it's cooler. Within a year, it's ancient news.
The only thing you can do is save yourself so you can keep working to change it so it won't happen again to anyone else.
Well, there's a good argument there.
They'll bury him so deep, they'll be sending him sunshine in a tin can.
It's selfish for you to want to go languish in jail and pout and hope that people get angry enough to change the government's decision, which they won't. It's impossible. Ian told me as much. You're not sure? You don't even know the strategy, Mark. You're being ridiculous.
It's nice to know you love me.
No, you're being ridiculous.
So that's my big plan. If I don't die in jail, I'm going to come back to triumph and they're going to elect me justice minister. And then I'll make pot legal and it'll be like a fairy tale ending. Either one's a fairy tale ending. If I die in jail or get murdered or something like that, that's good too.
I got the reefer blues. 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 I got no friends 'cause I got no budget. Shake, baby, shake. Shake, baby, shake. Shake, baby, shake. The Prince of Wales is wealth and fame. Great big ears and a big long name. But our Mark Emery takes the spot. The whole world knows he's the Prince of Pot. He's the Prince of Pot. He's the Prince of Pot. Now shy, he's not. He gives it all he's got. He's the Prince of Pot.